Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Mystery School. And I'm your host, Jacob Cox, and we have another great topic for tonight: freedom. Who doesn't want it? Who doesn't want to experience the deepest levels of freedom that we can possibly experience? I feel like this is the topic I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I've had a lot of deep insights and visions and dreams in the past couple weeks about this very topic. So I got a few notes with me tonight, but I really hope that the divine will just show up and kind of move mountains tonight, if you will. So let's go ahead and get started. Freedom, what is it? I think first and foremost, your definition of anything is what matters most, right? So if you think freedom is something that only the government can give you, pretty much disempowers you to have a lot of freedom because it's something that someone that can only offer you. At the kind of a higher level of that is at the very least they should be protecting it. It's not something that the government can offer. You can't offer me any freedom. There's no fighting that needs to take place. It's literally something that the government should only be protecting. You should be protecting my right to have these freedoms. And that's literally what it says in the Declaration of Independence. And I feel like I do want to go there for a little bit tonight, and at least for the people who live in the United States. And I know we have people kind of all over the world sometimes that watch the show, but for us here in America, we literally have a document that entrusts to its people that our government does protect these rights. But I do think again, your freedom is your deepest right as a human being. It's a God-given right. And you need to realize, I think we need to accept that the deepest levels of freedom will be had by those who have the deepest definitions of them. To be free from suffering, not just something that I can feel, but something that I am at the deepest levels. But again, I don't think that it's something we go to war for, that we fight for, that governments provide for us. It's a lot more than that. To me, I think it's more about surrender, that I'm surrendering my ideas and my belief systems and everything that's going on. I'm not trying to live in the future. I'm not trying to live in the past. I'm trying to be right here, right now in this moment. And that, man, that's just the most to really be in my body, to really feel alive, to really feel like I'm not controlled in some way, to have opinions about certain things. The water cooler conversations, if you will, that I need to engage with them. I feel so free from those things so often. And I see so many people that I love engaging in them, and I feel like I want to say something to them, but those public places and those social medias just really aren't the place. I pretty much talk to anybody about anything. Um, but I feel like the right place, the right time. And I was just saying this, but I don't want to talk about anything with anybody, honestly, if I don't feel like I'm going to grow from it or they're going to grow from it. If it's just going to be somebody going to regurgitate ideas to me to stand polarized to one idea or the other, there's really no reason for us to talk anyway. I'd rather just have my peace, plain and simple. That to me is one of my greatest understandings of freedom, is to be peaceful, that I don't need to fight you. I mean, there's nobody on this planet that's more different than me that they could be than they can be like me. Everybody has the same hopes and dreams, and for the same core, at least. Um, People want to be loved, they want to be protected, they want to be honored. Um, we all walk on two legs, we all got one brain and one heart, two ears, for the most part, and most people have way more in common with you than you can ever be different. We're just constantly fighting on ideology, and it's just separating and dividing us. And I don't know how aware most of us are in that it's an enslavement. We're enslaved by ideology. We've been polarized to one side or the other so much that you can't even live in peace because you constantly have to be mad at someone because of their ideas and who they like and who they voted for. Man, that's just not for me. So let's settle down. Let's nestle down in some freedom. And I think that probably starts a little focusing on our gratitude, what we're grateful for in this moment. All the things you can wake up in the morning. If you woke up this morning, you got more to be grateful for than a lot of people who didn't. And I've had a lot of friends since I was young, didn't wake up since high school or college or in the past few years. I can tell you that I've had dozens of healthy friends die suddenly, and very sad. So if you woke up this morning, you are blessed. And that's something just right there, first and foremost, to start out with, and being grateful just to be here, to be now, to be able to be a servant to the world today. Um, that just gives me chills to feel I got a mission to fulfill today. You know what I mean? I got something to do today, and I don't want to let myself down, my God down, my family down. I got kids I work with. I gotta, I want them to feel good. I want them to feel loved, and I got a mission to fulfill. So let's focus on that first and foremost. But let's go ahead and move to that Declaration of Independence that we were talking about, and the things that it says that it guarantees that it's going to protect for us, not to give us. They can't give us these things. We're already made of this stuff. I'm already made of freedom. It's only the programs and ideas that we've been inundated with that make us think that we are not, that we've been divided from the wholeness of that we really are. So number one was the, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? And that life, that first one, that's to me kind of like the physical stuff. Um, what does it take to sustain life? Literally, it takes water, air, food, shelter, and usually some kind of energy, some kind of heat, some kind of cool. Um, you've got to literally have those things to be alive. So to me, you can call me whatever you want, but every single one of those things should be guaranteed. They're free. Water is free. Air is free. Food is free. The shelter, it comes from the woods and the materials that come from our planet. Every single one of those should be free to people. I don't care who you are. There's not one human being on this planet that should not have those things. That should not be able to sleep in a warm bed every single night. There are, I heard, not too long ago, there were six homes, foreclosed homes that were unoccupied for every homeless person that was out there in America. I'm sure those statistics have changed, but it seems that there are always more homes available and more homeless people. And they're constantly making new apartments, constantly making more homes. So there has to be enough for everybody to live. I mean, there's obviously enough money. We have more than enough. We have billions of dollars that we can give to other countries for war, but how don't we ever give $300 billion to the homeless people to guarantee that everybody eats healthy, that guarantee that everybody has clean drinking water? Those are the things to me personally, like our Constitution says we protect the life that everyone has. Well, it takes all of these things for every single one of us to be alive. I think that every single one of us should start saying, then these are the things that you should 100% provide for every single person. No person should have to pay for electricity anymore. I think that's crazy. The fact that Nikola Tesla lived in my city that I'm in right now for 11 years and rediscovered these wireless transmissions of energy, guarantee that he pulled these things out of the ether. You know what I mean? I think every single person who lived around the Great Pyramids and the pyramids of South America and Chichen Itza and Stonehenge, I believe every single one of those people had free energy. I believe the way they painted the inside of those pyramids without any soot on the ceiling declares that they had energy of some sort. They had light of some way, one way or another, but they didn't have wires, but they probably had light bulbs. So I think first and foremost, the fact that our government says it protects life, liberty, and happiness, the pursuit of happiness. Number one, life, the physical. There should be no human die from thirst, no human die from food, no human die in our cities because it's so cold outside, of literally dying on our streets. That's something I feel like we need to evolve and realize like there's more than enough. There's more than enough food. There's more than enough energy that all these things can happen. So then number two, we move on to life, liberty, mental. I believe that's the kind of the state of being free, to be able to think clearly and not be bombarded with all of these crazy things that were taxes and tickets, um, the property tax, the death tax, the inheritance tax, the medical income, the income and income tax, medical taxes. Um, it's crazy that we're taxed on money that we earned that we haven't even got yet. Um, that's so crazy. But anyway, how can we think clearly when we're constantly stressed about having to pay all these fines and fees and tickets and stuff all the time? How can you be guaranteeing me the liberty, the state of being free mentally when I'm constantly have to work 40 hours plus a week? And I can't be with my family. I've read, I've seen movies and documentaries about countries that did this and were able to end these centralized banking systems in their country and change and end the debt for people. I mean, that's what all this stuff is all debt and interest and fees and everything. And it's crazy. We don't need all this. It's gotten to a crazy level where a lot of it is no longer um, adequately tracked, and we don't know where all this money's even going. And they constantly want to add more money to fill the roads. Like there's plenty of money to fix the road. There's plenty of money to fix this. And there's plenty of money to fix that. We're just constantly being wasted, and we're cheated and lied to by these dirty politicians. We are not being led by the greatest among us. We're being led by the least. They might be the best looking, but they're certainly not the best people. And that's probably because they only got the millions of dollars that they're able to buy all these things and make themselves look a certain way. But deep down, their souls are dirty, and we have to realize that these are not the best among us. These people who are lying, cheating, and stealing, and using their positions to enrich their bank accounts, to enrich their stocks and things like that. This is crazy. We, the people, need to realize that the liberty that the government should protect us is not having to pay. It literally says in our Constitution we shouldn't have to pay taxes on and get licenses. You shouldn't have to get a license to do someone's hair. You don't have a license to cut someone's grass or something. No, you don't have to pay for that. And it's just we've been completely blindsided by greed, and I think that's what most of it comes down to. But our governments do protect us from these things. And last, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I think that's emotional. So we did physical, mental, and I think the emotional pursuit of happiness. You have the right to be happy. And how can you be happy when you have to work 40, 50, or 60 hours a week to make a living, to pay for a house, to pay for a house, to live, to pay for water and your food? I mean, when we get barely enough to to have a vacation, like, no, this isn't how we're supposed to live. Everybody knows that. We all know this point. We are guaranteed to be able to pursue happiness, and we can only do that if we're not ticketed and fined and property taxed to death. So we can't do anything anymore. And that's literally what it's come down to. And that's why they can constantly create this serfdom, this lower class that pays all the taxes and everything while everybody else gets to do whatever they want. No, not anymore. We need to find and realize that we have the right to be happy. We have the right to pursue our passions. If you don't have debt, you don't have all these fees and taxes and everything, and you had energy and food and water, and you could literally calm yourself and calm your nerves and not be stressed out enough to realize what does make me happy. If money is no object, then I still need a purpose. Everybody needs a purpose to feel fulfilled, to feel like how can I serve the world? There's no way that I would love to be able to hang out my family a lot, but I mean, still, I would need to do something like this. I would need to talk to people about important ideas. I would need to serve my community in some way still, not necessarily for the monetary value, but to feel like I'm here to help in some way. That's always been something I've felt deeply about is how can I help people? And I feel like that's something that we should be able to do. And most people can't do that because they have to pay the car payment, they have to pay the house payment, and you kind of just give in to a job. But to have a renaissance, right? Don't we want to have a renaissance in this world that's incredible, that's beautiful, that we can make art and we can, have, I had this really incredible vision when we did Awaken the Tribe, and I was getting massaged by someone listening to someone else speak their passion at the same time. And I was just, in this room, in this big room, in this moment where I'm getting a massage, people are talking, people are sharing their jewelry and their passions and their gifts to people and doing readings for people. And it's just like, man, this is a little renaissance in this room. If we could only amplify this to make it our whole city, how incredible would it be? That we're all not running this rat race, but we're here and we're able to share a gift. Like this is what I feel like a renaissance is. And it made me feel like, this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to bring people together to share their gifts. And that's all, more than anything, what I want to do in my whole life is so that everyone feels free, no judgment, say what you want, share what you want, be who you are. God, that organic rawness is something I feel like we all need. So I do think that we should realize that these are not things that the government is going to give us. These are the things that they should be protecting. We are all God's children. We're all royalty, and we are all one, and we all are these things. And we need to start realizing it again that we are free. We are not free because we're Americans or because someone fought a war before we were born. You're free because that's the way God intended you to be, to have free will and to go out and do things. And we have made up laws as humans to put people in prison and jail and totally deny the divine order of the universe to be exactly how things are supposed to be. If you lie, you're going to be lied to. If you cheat, you're going to be cheated. If you start shooting people, people are probably going to start shooting back at you. That's how it works. Whatever you put out is what you get back. And we have to realize that this is not, don't look at everything through a tiny little microscope. And this is something that flower bloomed, and next year it's going to come up and it's going to bloom again. And it's going to come bloom again next year. And you're going to get this opportunity again and again and again. And no judgment. The universe gives you free will to be that. But no, whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. And that has to be how it works so that you learn, so you can be super cold, super hot and realize, man, I don't want to be a liar anymore. I don't want to be a cheater anymore. I don't want to be someone who people can't trust because that doesn't feel good. I want people to know when I did a job, it's good. When I told you I was going to be there, I'm going to be there. That's what makes me feel alive. That's what makes me feel in flow. That's what makes me feel powerful and strong and courageous and true. And all the things that I want to see in a hero, I can be myself. So I think deep down, the next thing I want to talk about is spiritual freedom, right? Because the mental, the physical, the emotional, they're great. But one thing I think that even our law doesn't, protect and probably didn't even have the words for maybe back then. Maybe they did, but it didn't seem to be something that came up in that particular segment of the Declaration of Independence. But spiritual freedom is something I feel like is the depth of this topic tonight. And what is that? What is it to be spiritually free? You know, ultimately, I think that's free from suffering. What kind of things cause us to suffer? And as I said earlier, living in the past, that makes you depressed. Living in the future, and that makes you anxious. But if you can live right here in the now, in this present gift, that's where you feel most alive. That's where you feel you're going to feel most peaceful. That's where you're going to find your freedom. That's where you're going to find your courage and your power. And that's where you're going to be able to move mountains. And so that's really when the thing I want to talk about tonight is that spiritual freedom and how do we get there? How do we really nestle down into that? Because that seems like be the most important, the most divine way that each of us can be free. And if we can add that to our definition of what it really means to be free, I think a lot of us can find a lot more peace. And I was talking to some of these guys earlier before we started the show about it, and one of the things that recently I feel, first started waking up, it was just for me. And then I wanted to share a lot of things and nobody wanted to listen to me. A lot of people thought I was crazy. And that was fine, but it hurt my feelings a little bit. But as I've kind of got more mature in my spiritual awakening, I realize, a lot of people are polarized, right? A lot of people are polarized to Democrat, to Republican, and they want to hate somebody. And if you like somebody, then you're an awful person for doing that. And that's fine. I think I could find some good things about a Democrat president. I can find some good things about some Republicans. I can find some bad things that I don't, but I am not polarized to one way or the other. And that's not a football team for me. And that if this team does wrong, I'm going to cheer for them no matter what. Like, no, if you don't do the things you say you're going to do, if you don't hold these truths evident that you are here to create a powerful change for good and positivity and love and then I'm not with you. You know what I mean? I'm not with that. And there's a lot of things I'm not with on both sides. And there's things I'm with on both sides that I totally get and I totally see. But I see this argument, I see this fight of people constantly shredding people down. If you like this person, then you got to be this and you got to be that and you got to be the word. That's awful, man. I'm not even, I can't, I want to talk to people. I want to hug those people. I want to love them. I feel like a lot of this is coming from hurt places. Hurt people want to hurt people. I want to love you. I want to say, man, you know what? No matter what, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're independent, I don't care if you don't even know anything about politics. If you don't even know, you're probably better off. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're all more alike than we could ever be different. So why, if we're not going to grow from this conversation, if you're not going to get something from me, I'm not going to get something from you, and you're just going to stay, where you're at with your topic, which most people are, it's not a conversation worth having. I'd rather have my peace. Let's talk about something else because we can't go there. Um, that's sad. I feel like we should. At the same time, we should never get to a point where we've got so divided as people that our ideology, think about that, our ideology has divided us so much. You can't even sit down and have a conversation with somebody or eat with somebody. You can't be friends with somebody anymore. I think that's sad. Guess what? There's more than two sides to everything. I mean, even a penny's got some sides on it. You know what I mean? Besides head and tails, there's a little side on it with all these little indentions. It's always more than two sides. But if you take a perspective back and look at it, left wing, right wing, it's all part of the same bird. Most of them seem to serve the same masters, given money from the same places, have agendas that really connect, do the bidding of people with billions of dollars on both sides. So, I don't particularly trust any of them, and I probably wouldn't want to eat dinner with most of them unless they were willing to have a conversation where they'd learn something from me and I'd learn something from them. Then we could. But I want that, man. I want to be spiritually free. I don't not having to completely get caught up with someone in a conversation where I have to feel like I need to prove my point to them. It's a level of freedom I want a lot of people to have because you don't have to do that. But a lot of people feel like that's their agenda. I have to make you feel shame or guilt for liking someone because it's wrong. Ultimately, end of the day, every single person is God. I want to love everybody. Like that to me is the deepest thing. Like no matter what you've done, no matter what you've said, no matter who you've hurt, and even if you hurt me, like ultimately I love you. You may not sit at my dinner table tonight, but I love you. I care about you. Um, I want a president to make good decisions. No matter who he is or her. I want people to make good decisions. I want people to wake up. I want people to realize that the things that's happened to them, no matter what it is, don't judge yourself. Let it go. Forgive yourself, because ultimately that's where you're going to find a ton of freedom. If I'm not completely enthralled in my own suffering by the person that I've been, and I've been a crappy person in my life. I've cheated and stolen and lied to and hurt people. And it felt crappy, and I had to drink a lot and do things that kind of numb that pain. But eventually, when you get to the core of those things and you feel and you let them go and you forgive yourself, like, you know what, I learned a lot from those things and I wouldn't do them again. Well, good, good. That's the point, right? And I think that's the kind of Christ-like consciousness I want to have, He without sin cast that first stone. I got plenty of it. I've done so many dumb things that I have no right of any leg to stand on in an argument of to judge anybody for anything. I'd be a terrible juror. Um, because I just couldn't see putting anybody in jail for anything. And people say, what about someone who killed someone or something? Like, man, to me, I hurt people, hurt people. I don't want someone to go to jail for 30 or 40 years and we have to pay for them to live there and eat and drink, and they get free water. The prisoners get free water and free food and electricity, but we can't give it to people who actually out in society. There you go. There's something that just came full circle, right? At least the prisoners get it, but I don't want to pay for that. I don't want anybody to pay for that. I want rehabilitation. I want to put this person in a circle with everyone in their community and say, look, no matter what you've done, we still love you. We care about you. Love yourself, forgive yourself, learn from what you've done. I don't want anybody to die. I feel like if reincarnation is real, we're all going to reincarnate and everything. I don't want you to die right away from after because you've done something bad. I want you to realize in this life, right here now, what you've done, take responsibility for it, and be a better person because of it. And clear that karma for you right now. Clear it. So you don't have to go back into another life and be riddled with it and have to alleviate it from your soul. Get it in right now. Let's love these people. Let's get them in a circle and tell them, you know what? We love you. Everybody's made mistakes. We've all done some dumb things. There's no, ego and anger and wrath has totally taken over people, and it's okay. We've all done dumb things, and that's all right. Forgive yourself right now. We forgive you. We love you. Move on. But I don't want to cast stones on anybody and for anything for any reason. I feel like that's the ultimate Christ consciousness. He gave it to us right there. It's the law to stone this woman for adultery. What do you say? I say, he without sin cast the first stone. I got all the sin in the world, so I can't cast any stones. And I don't think anybody out there listening to this tonight has is free from any sin from their doing. And if you reach down deep in that and realize that there's no reason that you should crucify anybody for any reason. Nope, not me. So understanding everything is working out in a divine order. That's super important, right? That the people are being lied to are getting, or who are lying are being lied to. People are killing or getting killed. People who are hurting people are getting hurt. And the people who are finally turning the other page and loving everybody and having gratitude and experiencing living in this now in this moment are having more things to be thankful for in this moment. That's what I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize. And realize that I love that talk. I don't know what it's called, but there's a video with Terrence McKenna talking to a mushroom on YouTube back in the day. And he said, the mushrooms told me this is how it happens on all the planets around the universe, that at the end of the age, it gets dark, the systems are crumbling, they're going down. Things are going to change. If you're mad about what's happening now, it's only going to get crazier. So it'll seem on the outside, but your inside can change to the point where you realize, oh, these systems have to crumble. This education system has to crumble. These politics have to crumble. It all has to go down because why? Because we're going to have a new way of doing it, a new world, a new age. The age of Aquarius is coming, and we're going out of Pisces. And literally, that's what it says in the Bible. People who don't realize it tells you that Jesus will be with you. Christ said, I'll be with you to the end of the aeon, which is age. And it says to look for the man who brings in the pail of bucket of water. And that is by far Aquarius. They couldn't say these things out in the open. Remember, these are parables that they had to speak in, they had to talk in, that only the true disciples got to hear behind closed doors. Can't just say anything you want to back then, as you can't say what you want to right now, or you'll be crucified for it. You got to be careful what you say sometimes. Um, but we are at the end of an age, and we are seeing these systems starting to crumble. I am not holding on to them because they are going to crumble before all of us. Good, good. The way we do politics, the way we do education, the way we do living in a home, the way our friendships will be, the way our communities will thrive, it will be much different. And it might even be kind of scary at some point for some people that the freedom that we'll have will be so much different than we have now. Love that we'll experience will be so much deeper than we've ever experienced. Kindness, it'll be so much more beautiful than I think many of us have ever even imagined it could be. And that people ask me, when is that going to happen? You know what? It can happen for you right here now. It just depends on how do you want to define freedom for yourself? How do you want to define love? How do you want to find your reality so that you can experience a much richer, incredible, kind, loving, grateful, free reality? Because it's here right now. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not past you. You're not too old to get that. You're not too old to receive it. Each and every single one of us in this moment, if you dig in deep and feel it, take a breath and not be enslaved by the ideology, the ways to think, the ways to be, and be yourself. Your kind, loving person that you are, that came here on a mission to change the world. You know you did. Each and every single one of us came here on a mission to change the world, to make it better. You don't have to be the CEO. You don't have to be the president. You don't have to have a company. You can get up tomorrow morning, focus on what you're grateful for, go to your job, listen to people like you've never listened to them, without your reaction of saying, why I think I, need to respond in a certain way, and listen to them, hear them out, say something nice that you've held back. Give some money to a homeless person, give some food to somebody else, and be grateful that you have to give it and see the things come back to you amplified. You can literally change your reality right here, right now. You can do all the things that Christ did and greater things than he did. He gave you that permission. He gave us all that permission to do that. Why don't we do those things? Because we put people up on pedestals and we don't realize how powerful we are, how incredible you are, that you are royalty itself. You are divine beings, each and every single one of us, and we are here on a mission. It's time to be on the mission, whether you work with kids, you sell cars, you cut grass, you cut people's hair. You can make somebody's life better today. You can make somebody feel special today. You can feed somebody today. And if you do those things, if you serve the world, you realize how great the servant is. And then that servant becomes the master. But you have to serve the world. You have to fulfill your mission that you came here to do. And you don't have to be, again, you don't have to be a president or CEO. Just be yourself. There's nobody else like you. There's nobody else who has the connections you have, that knows the people that you do, that knows the people who are suffering like you do, that can extend that hand out to that person and be heard by that one person who looks up to you and change your life. Stop holding back from the greatness that you are. Each one of us is a little Buddha, little Martin Luther King, little Christ, and every single one of us has that power to change the world. Remember, no matter what, your freedom is what matters. And if you're truly free, don't worry about anything. Remember those stories in the Old Testament and stuff where they, Joseph was sold by his brothers and stuff into slavery. He ends up in prison. They ends up giving him the keys to the jail and taking over everybody. He becomes the second in line to the king of Egypt. It doesn't matter where you are, where you're at, in prison or whatever. If you go within yourself and find that kingdom of heaven, you'll have the keys to the prison. You'll be the keys to the city, to the capital, everything. I can tell you what, I have felt this and I have known this, and I've been starting to move mountains recently, and I can't put into words sometimes the level of freedom I've been experiencing personally. But I hope tonight, if you heard what I've had to say and felt my heart, that you know that I'm being true and I'm being honest, and that each and every single one of you can have that same level of freedom and more, and all of us more and beyond. And I hope tonight there'll be some guys and some people staying afterwards and have a little deeper talk about this, because no matter what, no matter who comes against us, what's inside of us is more powerful, more credible than anything that comes against us outside. So I want to thank every single one of you for joining me tonight for this episode of Mystery School About Freedom. I hope that this fires up your spirit inside to become more free, to get on that journey to freedom, to love, to kindness, to gratitude, and just being you, being the person that you came here to be and the mission that you came here to do. I am incredibly grateful for this journey always. I absolutely love doing these things, and be definitely more to come. But again, thank you to every single one of you for being here tonight. My heart is truly full, and I am incredibly grateful for each and every single one of you. The God divine inside of me sees, honors, and recognizes the God and divine in each and every single one of you. Namaste.